Well, good morning, Keller High School families. It is so exciting to get to interact with you a little bit today. I know this is very different than what we normally do for Coffee Chat, but I just wanted to welcome you to our first Coffee Chat of the year. For our new families, this is something that we started a few years ago, and we hold these on the last Friday of the month, most months, not every month, but and during normal years, we would be meeting in the library and we'd have some coffee and snacks and things like that. But because this year is anything but normal, we are going to be holding these virtually for the foreseeable future. So thank you for joining us. My name is Lisa Simmons. I am the principal here at Keller High. You possibly see a few other faces on this stream, and they will be introducing themselves as we go throughout this morning. We've got some information that we want to share with you. We miss seeing you guys on campus. It feels very different. Campus is a bit more quiet because it's just us and the students, but I know that right now having a closed campus for now is what we need to do to minimize our exposure to COVID-19 and to just do our very best to keep your students and our staff safe and healthy as we go through these crazy times. So I just want to say thank you to our PTSA. They sponsor our coffee chat. This morning our staff had coffee from Scooters, and so we really appreciate them doing that for us this morning. I know staff, it was a great pick-me-up this morning as they made their way to school, and we do a staff coffee chat as well the same day before school starts. So appreciate our PTSA and their involvement on campus. It does look a bit different for them this year too. But again, we just really appreciate your support. As we go through this, you have a chat box if you're logged into YouTube, and you can ask questions. We would appreciate it if you keep those to just like general questions. And my staff, the team that's on this on the Zoom with me, will try to answer those as we go throughout. If you have questions that are specific to your student, we just ask that you reach out to the campus directly. Could be their counselor, your student's assistant principal, or you can reach out to me, of course, as well. Because we are recording this, and due to confidentiality reasons, we just want to be able to answer your specific student questions directly with you versus in a larger group setting. So anyway, we appreciate that. But please, if you have general questions, please ask. I know a few of you shared questions through the link that we provided last week, and we'll be answering those as we go through this presentation as well. I really just, as I shared with my staff this morning, this year has been challenges. Someone described it as being in a boat with waves, and some days are pretty smooth sailing, and then other days we get big waves, and we're just having to navigate through it. And probably more so this year than any other year, we are using a lot of patience and grace and perseverance are a lot of words that really come to mind. But we really appreciate our families. I've heard from several teachers that you guys have been beyond graceful and gracious to them, meeting needs that they have. Several have shared with me that they put out some needs they had in their classroom, and our families have gone above and beyond to provide what they've needed. So thank you from the bottom of our heart. I wish we could be here in person to say thank you to you. And this feels so weird to not be able to do that, but the words nonetheless are no less heartfelt that we're having to do this virtually. So again, I truly appreciate all that you're doing, your patience, your grace. We feel it, and our teachers feel it, and I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. So they're continuing to adapt and adjust to teaching in a new way. It's very different. They're teaching remote students, they're teaching face-to-face students, and then in some cases they have both of these types of students in the same class at the same time. And these are all things that we're continuing to learn how to do. And again, I really appreciate your patience as we work through this and we continue to work through this. From a health and safety standpoint, our students and staff, you guys have done an incredible job. Wearing their masks and following the one-way hallways and the stairwells. They're doing what we've asked them to do, and I'm just so proud of them and so grateful for their support. I got to drop in on a few remote classes last week and this week, and it was fun to be able to try and connect with our remote students. We really focused on our freshmen because these are kids that don't know us, may not be able to put a name with a face. And so we wanted to pop in with the admin and counseling teams to some of those remote sessions so we could really just connect with them a little bit. And it was a lot of fun to see their faces and kind of see what they were doing in their remote classes at that time. So really appreciative of all of our families. And while our classroom instruction, it does look different, our teachers are fully dedicated to providing high levels of instruction, and that has not wavered and that will not waver. They might be having to do a little more lecture or standing at a distance, or when they're in groups, they're standing far apart, but they're still committed to providing that high level of instruction that we expect here at Keller High and that our families expect. So again, I just appreciate the staff and your support. So as we start, for some of our new families, you might not know a lot about us here at Keller High, and you haven't gotten to maybe come in our building and get a feel for what it feels like at Keller High. But I will start by saying last year our focus was on family, and that's truly who we are. We are a family, and you guys are a part of that. You're a big piece of what we do. We provide an education during the school day, but a lot of what goes on at school, we know carries over into your home and what you guys are doing at home. So again, we appreciate your partnership in that, because it really takes all of us to provide the level of education and learning that we want to do and what we expect here at Keller High. We started a campaign or a kind of a little theme a couple of years ago. It was just really all in, and how do we focus on being all in and giving 100% in all that we do. And so each year we've challenged our staff and our students to be all in. And we pick a word that we're going to focus on for the year. Last year, like I said, we focused on being an all-in family. And this year we're focusing on being all in together. With the socially distant world that we now live in, and even here at school, it's challenging to really bring a group together and to stay on the same page. And so we're really challenging ourselves to do that this year. So as the students and staff considered what their word would be for this year, their all-in word, they focused on what it would mean to be together. And so they wrote their word on a star, and they're hung in the commons area where our family tree was last year. But we've got the stars all around our water tower, and the whole idea behind that, and then our students place stars, they're the blue stars. And so some of them are on that water tower area and others are spread throughout campus by the teachers' classrooms. And the whole idea is when students see that star, when staff see that star, they're reminded of their word and their commitment to do whatever that word was that they picked for the year, whatever their focus is. So that's kind of the whole purpose of that. And it's really just a reminder of us all sticking together, even through challenging times. And it's being all in the classroom, our extracurriculars, and then in our community. The next thing I wanted to share with you just a little bit is our mission statement. And it's posted on our website. It's something that is a focal point for us, but sometimes it gets lost in a lot of the other things. But really what we're all about here at Keller High is developing our students both in mind and character, and just preparing them for future success, whatever that looks like for them, and then instilling those high academic and ethical standards. The next part of who we are is, and this is really kind of gets down to the meat of it, is our culture. So we are about relationships. We're about our community. We're about education and those lifelong learning and opportunities. We're about communication, that effective exchange of ideas. We're about service and giving back to our school and to our community. We're about excellence, and then of course, respect. And those are just all things that really are a focus for us when we talk about making decisions, or if we're going to bring a program to our campus, or how we're going to handle a situation. This is kind of the foundation, what we go back to as a campus on when we have decision making and things like that. So those are kind of just the things that frame us as who we are for our new families and what Keller High is kind of all about. I know a big part of this year has been COVID-19, and we've got a lot of new things in place. So I just want to share really quickly with you just kind of where you can find information. Most of you probably already know this, but in case there's someone out there that doesn't, A lot of information about processes, protocols, things like that are out on the Keller ISD website. It's on their back to school page. And from there, you can find a lot of information. Probably the biggest piece right now is when you go to the health and safety and operations tab, there is information there about our response. And when we have a positive case on campus, and I'll just kind of talk you through how we handle it here at Keller High. So when we have a report of a positive case, we have to do contact tracing for the 48 hours prior to the individual testing positive or having symptoms. And our nurse, Miss Amy Tram and Miss Debbie Hooker, they are incredible ladies, but they are our point of contact for all things related to COVID-19 and really take the lead on this process. As an administrative team, we all support them in that, and we work through that contact tracing with them. So the next step in that would be, once we have an individual identified, we then determine, okay, what classes were the student in? How about lunch? How about the bus? How do they get to school? Athletics, clubs, organizations, things like that. And we have to determine who this individual came in close contact with. And what this is based on CDC guidelines and Tarrant County Health Department. It's someone who is in 6 foot of the individual for 15 minutes or more. And this is a cumulative 15 minutes or more. So we then work with our teachers, our staff, any place the student might have been. Maybe they were at KCAL, things like that. And we determine what individuals were in with close contact with that particular person who tested positive. And then they go into a quarantine period. And the quarantine period is 14 days. That is based on CDC guidance. And the reason for that is because all the guidance they provide us is that the incubation period for COVID can be anywhere from 1 to 14 days. There's even been cases where someone might test negative on day 13 and they test positive on day 14. And that's the reason why behind the 14 days. So that's kind of the process that we follow. When you have a student, if for some reason your student was going to be quarantined, you would get a phone call from us, and then you get a letter via email that follows up that's from the health department that gives their quarantine period and then when they're able to return back to school. So just kind of wanted to give you a little background. It's a new process. It's something, we have had a few cases. You can look at the dashboard on the district website that has our data there. But I will say I'm super proud of our staff and our students. When we've had a positive case, the numbers of students that have had to be quarantined we have not had large groups at a time being sent out. And you can kind of look at that as you look at how many students they've now added the number of quarantine individuals and then the number of cases. So we're not having like whole groups, large groups. And a lot of that goes back to things that our teachers are doing in the classroom. We are socially distancing as best as we can, keeping desks as far apart as possible. We're using desk shields, we're using masks. And while desk shields and masks are mitigation factors, they do not fully prevent the spread of COVID-19. And that is why we're still having to follow the quarantine process that is put out there by CDC. So just wanted to share a little bit more about that process. If you have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to the campus. Amy Tram is our nurse, so you're welcome to reach out to her or myself, and I can get you in touch with her. So from here, we're going to shift over to some more informational, a little bit more informational slides. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Montemayor, and he is going to walk you through our campus website and some key areas that you may want to take a look at if you're trying to figure out who should I contact or where can I find specific information. So I will turn it over to you, Mr. Montemayor.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, Ms. Simmons. So good morning. I'm Danny Montemayor. I'm our associate principal. I don't have a specific student alphabet that I work with, but I am here to support all of our students. So and all of our families, if there's ever anything that you need that I can help with, certainly reach out and let me know. So we're going to just take a look at our Keller High School website now. I'm going to walk you through a few areas of important information that you would probably like to be familiar with. So starting with the main page, when you click on our school at the top and then down on administrative team, here you will find all of our administrators and their contact information. Ms. Simmons and myself Sydney Bramer is new to Keller High School this year. She is been an assistant principal in the district for a number of years. She's coming from Fossil Hill Middle School, and she will be working with the alphabet A through DAN. Michelle Mayfield, many of you probably know her as a counselor here at Keller High School. She has transitioned over to the administrative side, and she will be working with our students' last names DAO through HOH. Brian Day, he serves the alphabet HOL through MIK. Ramsey Branch has MIL through SCH. Travis Brewer is also a new assistant principal with us this year. We don't have his photo up here yet, but we'll get that up there soon so you can see who he is if you've not had an opportunity to meet him in person, which you likely haven't, given the circumstances. But he will be working with the alphabet SCI through Z. And then Miss Holt, Brianna Holt, she is our assistant principal over assessment this year. She formerly worked with the beginning part of our alphabet. She has transitioned over to assessment. She can help you with any of your testing needs and questions as they come up through the year. And she'll also be sharing a little bit more here in a bit about some of the upcoming testing opportunities. Okay, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Upton here. He's going to talk a little bit about our counseling team. So in order to find them on the website, if you go to Students and Families and click on Counseling, you can find all things counseling here. Mr. Upton.
All right, thanks, Mr. Montemayor. And I like Mr. Montemayor. I'm not assigned to a specific alphabet, but I do try to help every student here and family that I can in whatever way you guys need and support the counselors in doing that very thing. So as he said, we do have the website here, and with you guys not being on campus as much and not being able to come in and see us, we just want to make sure you have access to all of our resources and know what's going on. So we're trying to do as best a job as possible, making sure that things are updated and up to speed on the website so that you can access things. As you'll see, the SAVE process is underway right now, which is the process for students that may feel like they're not being successful in a pre-AP or AP level class. And the goal with that is to save students' schedules, not necessarily to bail from a class, although sometimes that's necessary. Our goal is to figure out ways to support a student being successful in their current setting with making sure that we utilize every resource. Beyond that, I just want to make sure we know who our counselors are, and we have a new counselor here, so I'll let her speak in just a moment. But you'll see our team there, and Miss Mayfield's still in our picture there, even though she moved across the hall, so she's still going to always be an honorary counselor. But there's my picture, and then if we move down, one of the things that we have added to our counseling staff this year is we do have a college coach, and Dr. Colvin, Randy Colvin, is here with us this year. And he'll be working with any of our students' needs to help them get ready for college information. So he's already started working with a lot of our students that are seniors, and he'll continue to work through those pieces as we move forward. But our newest member, and she is in here, so I wanted to make sure everybody could see her wonderful smiling face, is Miss Vicki Neese. And she'll be taking what was formerly Miss Mayfield's part of the alphabet A through CAR. So Miss Neese, you want to say hello real quick?
Hi guys, I'm excited to be here and happy to be working with the kids.
So many of you may know Miss Neese. She's a mama at our campus as well. So she's not just a counselor here, but she's also a family member in true form of being part of our KHS family in multiple ways now. So beyond that, we have the remainder of our alphabets should stay the same, and people that should be familiar faces, but you'll see Miss Hudell is CAS through FIS. Mr. Stanton has last names FIT through I. Miss Turnley has last names J through MAZ. Mr. Gaston, MC through POS. Miss Phi, POT through STI. Miss Woodruff, STO through Z. And then we have Miss Ebner, who is our intervention counselor who works with students on social emotional needs and partners with our counselors in many of those areas. So like I said, the remainder of our team is still in place. And then of course, Miss Peters is our office manager who you may speak to if you make a phone call up here. So we're really excited about this year. It's been very different. There's no question about it, but we've had the opportunity to meet students and families in a remote setting in different ways. And we've found really, I think, creative ways to connect with you guys. And we've really had a great start to the year. So thank you guys. One thing I'll leave you with before I move on is one of our conversations we have a lot in counseling is really working on this concept of radical acceptance, which means, we try to understand that there are things that we get to control and things that we can't. And this year is a real challenge for those of us that try to plan ahead and do things. But in the efforts of radical acceptance as parents, I hope to leave you with this little nugget is that if we work together on the things that we can control and make sure that we don't try to fight everything that we can't this year, it's been really helpful to us and to our families and students as we work through recognizing to partner and work through those things that we have control over. So hopefully I can leave you with that little nugget and then hand it back over to our admin team.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Upton. All right, so at this time, I think we're going to walk you through a couple of other important areas on our website that you might find helpful. So we're going to start with our freshman focus page. So under students and families, if you click on freshman focus, this is a website that some of our campus leaders our teacher leaders have put together to help with the transition to high school for our freshman students. So it's a pretty big jump from middle school to high school. So they have put together this site with some topics and things that are really important for you guys to know and for our students to know and to help our students as they make that transition to high school and help them work through their freshman year. So you'll see here a document, Portrait of a Freshman Parent. This just has some key points that would be helpful for you as you're working with your student and supporting them in their freshman classes. You'll also find, again, an overview of our admin team and our counseling team. And then finally, you'll find some information up here at the top. Skills for Success has some various topics that will help in as far as planning and time management, organization, note-taking, some things that are super helpful for kids as they are navigating their freshman year. And then you'll also find links up here to the various subject areas, and you'll find the freshman teachers who teach in each of those departments. So super helpful page for our freshmen with us this year. Next, I'm going to move on to some ways that your kiddos can get involved here at Keller High School. So students and families and student life. On this page, you'll have a link to our clubs and organizations website. And this site here was the creation of a couple of our students, Ben Platts and Chris Platts. They came to us last year with an idea to help improve students' access to all the different opportunities that are out there that they might not be aware of. So they put together this website to be able to highlight all the various clubs and organizations that we have on campus to make it easy to find things that might interest students and to find the information about how to get involved with those organizations. So you'll see a complete list of all of our clubs here. There's many of them. It's also broken down by the type of club. So this is a fantastic resource. I'm super proud and thankful of those guys for putting this together and helping us work to maintain it. And I hope that you will find it helpful as well as you're working with your kids on finding ways for them to get connected here at Keller High School. Next up, let's take a look at our library page. So under the academics tab at the top and library, this is our Keller Learning Commons, is the name of our library. This is a great resource for all kinds of things, but in particular, I want to highlight over here on the left, tech tips. So here you can find resources for all the different things related to technology and working through remotely, all the different questions that come up that students may have as far as connecting to the Wi-Fi and other areas here at Keller High. So this is a very helpful site for our remote learners, but also for our in-person learners as they are bringing their devices to school and trying to work through connecting them to the Wi-Fi and various things like that. There's also information about our learning management systems, whether it's Canvas, Google Classroom, and lots of good resources for getting those things up and running and getting connected in that way. And then finally, let's see, go back to our main website here. I'm going to highlight the Senior Corner. So again, under Students and Families, if you click on Senior Corner, so this is a page that our senior class sponsors maintain. with all of the information regarding your senior year at Keller High. So there's a link to order graduation regalia. You will find our senior sponsors' names and email addresses here, Rebecca Morrow and Melanie Rogers. If you have any questions about any of the specific senior activities that go on throughout the year, they are here to help you with that information. We also include our project graduation information here as well, the link to their website, how to follow them on Facebook and Twitter, and the newsletters that go out via email. You can also find those here as well. All right. So with that, that's just a bit about our website and the information that's out there. I'm going to switch back over to our PowerPoint and go through a few other items here with you. All right, so through those. So first, let's talk about attendance a little bit. So obviously, attendance looks a bit different this year with both our in-person learners or remote learners. But some of the key things to know for this year and just going forward in future years. So students are required to be in class for 90% of the time in order to receive credit for that class. Now, there's some exceptions with absences. So if a student is quarantined, if they are coded as COVID for quarantine, those absences do not count against them in regards to 90%, nor do doctor's notes, doctor's appointments, those things do not. But for unexcused absences, a student just is not at school, those are the absences that do count against them in regards to credit. So what this looks like for first and eighth periods, they can have up to 9 absences in a class per semester before they go beyond that 90% threshold. For our blocked classes 2 through 7, it's 5 absences, and after that, they have gone beyond that 90%. And so what that means, if that happens, we do have students that find themselves in those situations. Their assistant principals will reach out to them, get in contact with them, and help them come up with a plan to be in class and then to recover some seat time so that they don't lose credit for those classes. As far as eligibility is concerned, so our first UIL grade check is coming up on Friday, October 2nd. Which is the end of the first 6 weeks. So students, if they are not passing all of their classes as of this date, they will lose eligibility for any UIL activities. There is an opportunity for them to regain eligibility if they are passing all of their classes at the end of the first 9 weeks. But again, at the end of the first 9 weeks, if they're not passing all their classes then they would lose eligibility again with an opportunity to regain at the 3-week progress report time. All right, so that is attendance. And next up, we have testing. Ms. Holt is going to share some testing information with us.
Can you go back one? I think you went too far. No. Yes, there we go. Hi guys, I'm Brianna Holt, and again, I'm over all of testing. You've probably gotten some emails from me already, but I just wanted to go through a couple of specifics coming up. So on October 14th, we will be hosting the PSAT exam here on campus. The exam was open to 9th graders who paid during the registration window, and then all of our sophomores and juniors are paid for by the district. More information will be coming to you guys as we get closer, but just to touch on a few key items, we will start the exam right when school starts, right at 8:30. So I do encourage your kids to get here between 8 and 8:15 so they can find their testing locations and get to their rooms and get settled. One new change that we do have from last year is that all of our non-testers are actually going to stay home that day and have the opportunity to earn attendance through an alternate activity that'll be sent out to them ahead of time. Our freshmen and then any sophomore and juniors who elected not to test, they're going to do a social emotional lesson online, and that'll have a link at the very end for attendance. And then for seniors, they'll go through a presentation that we typically do with them with information pertinent to them about caps and gowns, graduation, all that fun stuff. And then again, they'll have a link at the end for attendance that they'll fill out. Another change to this year is that since our non-testers are staying at home, our students who are coming to campus that day to take the exam are going to be able to leave once testing is finished. We're still working on the timing details for that, and we'll communicate that out to you guys once we get closer. But we still will have busing available if any families do need busing. You can go to the next slide, please. And then AP registration is also open. The deadlines and prices are listed there on the slide. Early bird window is going to close next Friday at 4 p.m. The flyer that I've sent out a few times now is on the right-hand side. So this window right now, I know there's a little confusion, but this window right now is for any year-long courses, which are pretty much any AP courses we offer, except for our government and economics. If your students in government and economics right now in the fall, they will also register during this window. However, if they're taking government or economics in the spring, then we'll have this window again. So again, right now, the window is open for year-long classes and then government and economics in the fall. And again, on the side there, those are the 3 steps they need to do to register. Most of your kids should have already finished step 1 with their teachers in class. So then the next step is just to pay online with the web store. Scholarship recipients have been notified, and their process is a little trickier. They're actually not able to pay on the web store. They have to pay in person. So if you are a recipient and you have any questions on that process, just email me anytime. And then the last part is just a Google form. That way we know which exams they want the money applied to, because we do have students that take more AP classes than they want to take the exam for. So, and again, I do all testings. If you have any questions at any time, just give me a call or shoot me an email. That's it for me.
All right, Mr. Upton, would you like to share a bit about our senior summit?
Absolutely. So this year, as we've talked about everything being virtual, it's a little different. We would normally invite you guys to come into our commons area, and we would do an informative session on all the things that are important to seniors. And realistically, this information is oftentimes good for junior parents to review and be aware of, and even sophomore freshmen sometimes to at least know what's ahead of you. But this year we're going to still present this information, and through a collaboration between all the high schools in Keller ISD, we've put together a Life After High School presentation, formerly known as Senior Summit. And it's going to cover everything from college, career, military, anything that your student may be interested in doing after high school. So that presentation will officially be launched on the websites, and we'll send out information when it becomes available. It will be like a PowerPoint type presentation that will be narrated and be available for you guys to access at any point, any time. And then at some point mid-October, we're going to do a live Q&A, kind of like what Dr. Westfall sometimes does with the community, so that our college and career coaches from all of the high schools can give you guys a chance as parents and students to digest the material for a week or two, and then have a chance to pose questions ahead of time or during a live event with our college and career coaches through all of Keller ISD. So we hope that we can get some of the same richness we would have as a live event, but also be able to provide this information soon for you guys, so that you can have this these steps of what should be happening at the beginning of a senior year, which we know is a very, very busy time for many of you as parents and students.
All right. Well, thank you to my team for joining me this morning and sharing a lot of great information. And I hope you found that information helpful. Just a few more things that we wanted to share for our new families and for those that have been with us a while. One of the programs that we do, and I've gotten some questions about this year, was Green Cord. And it's really an opportunity for our students to get out and serve the community and serve here at Keller High, but to also earn a cord for graduation. And they can start this as freshmen. So each year that students do this program, they get a cord for every year. So for instance, a freshman, if you earn your service hours this year, and for every year coming, by your senior year, you could have 4 cords that you would wear at graduation. So, but bigger than that, it's more than about being about the cord. It really is about serving our community, because if you remember back to our culture statements, one of those is service and our community. So there's a lot of ways that they can earn service hours this year. It is very different because of all the requirements of COVID. But Mr. Montemayor showed you on the website where you can go to that student life page, and there's a button there to get, there's a page there for Green Cord that can give you lots of information, but you can also hit if you want to scan in the QR code here on this slide, or the copy and paste the little URL that will take you right to the page. But you can also get to it through the Keller High School website, students and families, and then I believe it's student life. So, but a great way for kids to get involved. A lot of our kids do community service anyway, because that's just the type of students we have here at Keller High. And I'm always so proud to see the things that they're doing just because they want to give back. And I really appreciate that. I know that's a value that you as families have instilled in them, and our community has instilled as well. So I really appreciate that. So one way they can get involved, even from a distance at this, right now. So the next thing, just typically at Keller High, our student council has sponsored blood drive, and this is another opportunity for our students to give back to an even bigger community. We usually do these at the campus, but this year we're going to host it at the local Carter Blood Care site there in Town Center. So more information will be shared with our students, but I just wanted to let you know that is another way that we do give back in a bigger way to our community. And so I'm proud of our student council for sponsoring this and putting the opportunity there for our students to recognize the need to give back and to go really above and beyond, to give a piece of yourself to help someone else. So just another opportunity where we can give back to our community. So the next slide talks about homecoming. We are super excited to be able to have homecoming this year. Our football game is going to be on a Thursday night, October 15. And the theme is Keller Takes on the World. So we'll have dress up days that week. We know one of those days is PSAT, and so we're really going to focus on wearing our college shirts or something that represents what you want to do beyond high school. And so very grateful for, again, student council sponsors this. Unfortunately, we're not able to have a parade or the dance, but again, we're going to do what we can to continue to celebrate homecoming that week. And students will be able to wear mums and garters if they choose. That's a long-standing tradition, and I'm really grateful that we can do that again with our kids this year. So be looking for more information on that coming out in the weeks ahead. The next slide talks about athletic events. So this is another change for those that are interested in coming out and supporting our athletes. All ticket sales for all events are going to be done online, and those links are shared out through Keller ISD Athletics and then through Keller High School's campus page. We are doing our best to get that information. We use Twitter a lot, but we also have a Facebook page, so we're trying to get that there. But I can also tell you that if you're not a big fan of Twitter or Facebook, you can go to our Keller High website, and the Twitter feed does show up on the front page of our website. So even if you don't have an account, you can see what we're tweeting out. And I believe we also have an Instagram page. I'm not one that's out on all the social media sites, but I have a person on campus that does an incredible job of keeping up and sharing all the good things that are going on here at Keller High. So the big thing that I need your support in is with our athletic events. It is a little different. We're at reduced capacities in our gym and in the stadium. So for events that are in the gym, right now it's volleyball. We don't have a student section, and students that want to attend need to come with their parent. And I know that's different. It's I would love to have everybody. I'd love to have the gym packed. It's just, we just can't do that right now. And that's from UIL. And so it is critical that we have community, student, parent support in this because we don't want to have any concerns from UIL regarding events that we're having. And so, so I really appreciate your support. For football games, students can attend. We will have a student section for that. However, tickets are limited. Those will be sold again online. And once we sell out, we're done. It's possible we could have tickets at the door. Again, they'll be sold online at the gate, but it is also possible that it could be sold out before we even get to game time. So I'm just going to encourage our coaches are working with the athletes and their families on how they get their tickets. That's handled a little bit differently, but for the general public and for our students, those tickets do go on sale the day prior, I believe at 4 p.m. and will be on sale until they sell out. So at all events, anything in this building, you will have to wear a mask. And any athletic events at the stadium, you do have to wear a mask. And those are requirements by UIL. So for our athletic events. So we appreciate your support in that and appreciate you reminding your student of these. We've shared these out a little bit, but we'll do some more next week as we have our first home football game next week. We'll be sharing more specific information with students next week as reminders. So again, excited to be able to have our kids back on the field and the court playing. It's exciting to hear the band out there practicing. You know, it's such a big part of fall in Texas and at Keller High, and it's exciting that our students have these opportunities. Our Indianettes, our cheer, you know, it's just a great color guard. It's great to see them all practicing and being able to participate. And we want to do everything we can to ensure that we get to continue doing that by following our protocols and sanitizing the building. Our custodians have done an incredible job in that. There's not a dull moment in their day. They are constantly walking around with rags, sanitizer spray, wiping down high touch areas and bathrooms and the cafeteria, you know, the commons areas and things like that. So I'm just incredibly proud of everyone. This is truly a joint effort from your support to our students, to our staff, to making sure that we can continue to do school and our kids can continue to participate in the things that they love to do. And so just really excited to have the kids back in the building and to be able to have remote students if that's what they choose. I'm just grateful for the opportunities that our kids have this year. So, all right. The next slide, I think, has just a few questions that came to us. Some of them we addressed through the previously, but a couple of things that were out there that were asked of us. So senior pictures, those are done by Glamourcraft and it's by appointment. They do come to the campus. We have made that available on set days and set times, and you would make an appointment. Glamourcraft should have already sent that information out to our senior families. If you have not gotten it, Mr. David Williams is our point of contact there. And he is the one you can reach out to, and he can give you more information about that. There's been a lot of questions about Wi-Fi and technology, and what I can tell you, we shared out that technology-wise, we are working to going one-to-one or making sure all of our students have a device besides their cell phone or smartphone to utilize in the classroom. And so students are allowed to bring their own technology to campus. They can, and they're able to hook up to our Wi-Fi through their own device. But in addition to that, for students that don't have their own device, we are checking out Chromebooks to those students. So if your student, and we've checked out a couple hundred at least, but we still have more left. So if you have a student that needs a device, a Chromebook, you know, please reach out to their AP, their assistant principal, and let them know, and they will get with our librarian and she will get a device checked out to them. So our goal is that your student doesn't have to use their cell phone to do what we were asking them to do in the classroom. Because quite honestly, a lot of what we're seeing in the classroom and meeting with teachers and collaboration and things is teachers are moving to more electronically or website driven instruction. And that's for a variety of reasons. Number one, we're trying to reduce the number of things that we're having to touch in the classroom, and that includes paper. Sometimes paper is needed, and we're doing that. But there's some times where we can do it electronically. So we're shifting to that more so this year than ever before. The second part to that is if a student needs to be quarantined, we want to be able to make sure that that student has access to the lessons, to the material. And so having everything set up on a Canvas or a Google Classroom page is very helpful to those students. And then just for the ease of use, and after the spring, we had a lot of, our teachers found a lot of innovative ways to teach through using Canvas, Google Classroom, and then a lot of other resources. So, and they're continuing to do that this spring, so, or in this fall. So that is kind of why we are seeing a bit more of a shift to using a lot more technology in the classroom. But again, if your student needs a device, please let us know and we will get it to them. As far as devices go, we're good and we've got plenty to give out to our students. So please let us know. The Wi-Fi has been a challenge, and that is not a new issue. It has been an ongoing issue, and that's not just Keller High, but it's been a bigger issue across the district. But I am excited to let you know that this weekend, they have gone through and we've rewired the building. That happened over the summer, and up until about 2 weeks ago, they wrapped up the wiring part of it. But this weekend, they're coming through and upgrading our network switches. And so that will improve our service. So that happens over the weekends. So I anticipate, just with anything, there's going to be some bumps next week as we get everybody back on track and get everybody hooked up and things like that. But I'm excited. We're making good progress there because I know that has been a challenge, and it's been a concern of mine as we try to roll out more technology to our kids. We need the network to work and the Wi-Fi to be fully accessible. And so I really appreciate the district pushing this forward and getting us moving forward in this area. So the last question that we had that was presented to us was about our yearbook. It is on sale now at belfour.com. And then if you go to the left side, there's a little button on the left that says Shop My School. And if you put in Keller, our school will pop up and you'll be able to enter your students' information and then order the yearbook there. Again, if you have any questions related to yearbook, Mr. David Williams, you see his email address there on the screen. He is our yearbook sponsor and can help you with that. And any questions that you might have related to yearbook. So with that, Mr. Montemayor, do we have any questions from the chat box that I need to address? We've got just a few minutes left, but I can address any of those questions if I need to, or if you want to address them.
Yeah, no, I've not seen any questions come up. So if there are any questions, you can put those in now and we can do our best to answer them. But I don't see anything.
All right, well, again, this is very different for us. We are very much in years past an open campus. We love to have our parents and our families here on campus, and you guys are so much a part of what we do here at Keller High and what we're all about. So this is challenging for us, to say the least. It's great to have the kids here, but we do miss seeing your smiling faces on campus and having that ability to interact on a more personal level. And we look forward to the day when we can get back to that again. But until then, please know we are here to help and support in any way we can. Email is probably the best way to reach most of us, but if you need to pick up the phone and call, we're here to help that way as well. So again, we appreciate your continued support. Please reach out if you have any questions. One area that has been huge for us this year, as it goes to campus processes, and I'll just say a thank you to you guys for this too, is in the past, we've been very open to you guys bringing lunch to your kiddos and things like that. And unfortunately this year we're not able to do that. And I really appreciate that. We asked that at the beginning of the year, and you guys have done a fantastic job about not having drop-offs and things like that. And when we've had to have items like a pair of cleats or a textbook or something they've forgotten, we've been great to just come out to the door and get that from you. But I really appreciate you guys' support in that area, because it does go a long way, and that helps us to just be able to focus on what we need to do in the classroom and keeping our campus safe and healthy and minimizing those outside exposures. So again, we appreciate you guys, your partnership, your support, your grace as we've gone through this year. We are here to help and support any way that we can. So please reach out. And I hope you have a fantastic Friday. The weather is incredible out there. This is what fall is all about. So I hope you guys can get out and enjoy the weekend. Our future coffee chat dates, the next one will be October 30th. And it will be the same format. I will share out topics that we will be covering probably a week prior to that. So look for an email there. And then our next one after that won't be until January because of the Thanksgiving and the holiday season in December. So then we'll move into January. So again, thank you for your support. Appreciate you sharing your kids with us, whether in person or remotely. I hope you have a fantastic day and a wonderful weekend.